It's hard to build a computer right now because many of the key parts are sold out everywhere you look. If you can get a quality desktop per build, it may be worth springing for it just to get the components you want. The MSI Aegis RS11th, $1,999 to start, $2,499 as tested. Delivers the latest with Intel's 11th Gen Rocket Lake and an Nvidia GeForce RTX 3080. If those are the parts you're looking for, this PC should be in your consideration. MSI isn't using a weird, proprietary chassis that's hard to open. This is made of standardized parts, just mostly MSI branded ones. That does mean that when parts are easier to buy, this is a PC you'll be able to upgrade and grow with. The MSI Aegis RS11's gaming performance is strong, which makes one of the best gaming PC. But Rocket Lake's modest core count holds it back in productivity workloads. Design of the MSI Aegis RS11. How much you like the design of the Aegis RS will rely heavily on how much you like one of MSI existing PC cases. The MPG Gunner 110R has a mid-tower chassis with both tempered glass and black aluminum. The front is split between the two, making it look like the two-face of computer cases. Considering our review unit had 3 RGB fans up front, I didn't love that they were half covered up. It's a weird design choice. The rest of it, however, is far more conservative. The left side panel is tempered glass, which lets you see your components, while the right side is opaque and covers up the cable management. There are 2 dust filters, a magnetic one on top of the case, and a second one in front of intake fans. Ports and upgradability on the MSI Aegis RS11. There are 5 ports on the top of the Aegis RS chassis, a USB 3.2 Gen 2 Type-C port, a pair of USB 3.2 Gen 1 type of ports, and separate 3.5mm headphone and microphone jacks. The rear ports are from the MSI Z590 Pro Wi-Fi motherboard and include 4 USB 2.0 type of ports, 2 USB 3.2 Gen 1 type of ports, 2 USB 3.2 Gen 2 type of ports, USB 3.2 Gen 2 XWO Type-C, as well as audio connectors and PS2 for legacy peripherals. There's also DisplayPort and HDMI, though you'll likely use the options on the graphics card. Gaming and graphics on the MSI Aegis RS11th, the Nvidia GeForce RTX 3080 and Intel Core i7-11700K proved potent for gaming. I played a bit of Control on the Aegis RS, which I like to try because of how well it integrates ray tracing and stresses even the most powerful components. I ran it at 4K with the high preset and medium ray tracing in the beginning of the game, which features exploration sequences, combat with his guards in the oldest house, and fights on the astral plane. The game typically ran at around 57 frames per second. During fights inside the house, the rate dropped as low as 37 FPS when I used lots of Jesse's melee attacks, which bring about large telekinetic explosions with lots of objects moving. In the astral plane, which is rendered on a largely white background, it often stayed in the low 70s, even during combat. With a slightly lower resolution or a few tweaks, you could be at a steady 60 FPS fairly easily. Productivity performance of the MSI Aegis RS11th. This is the first pre-built desktop we've reviewed with the Intel Core i7-11700K. MSI has paired it with 16GB of RAM, a 1TB PCIe Gen 4 SSD and a 2TB HDD. The CPU has 8 cores and 16 threads. Its competitors, though, pose a threat, as many high-end PC come with Core i9 processors that have more cores. It should be noted that even the Core i9 Rocket Lake has just 8 cores, so this isn't a limitation of testing the Core i7. On Geekbench 5, an overall performance benchmark, the Aegis RS11th notched a single-core score of 1,676 and a multi-core score of 10,102. While that was the highest single-core score, the other 3 desktops had higher multi-core scores. All of those used Intel Core i9 10900K chips, which have 10 cores rather than the 8 cores in the 11700K. MSI Vigor GK30 keyboard and Clutch G-Mate mouse. MSI includes a keyboard and mouse in the box, which are good enough to use if you don't have a lot else lying around, but that you may want to replace if you already have favorite peripherals. The mouse, the Clutch G-Mate, has rubberized grips on the side, though it felt a bit narrow for my White Claw grip. Still, there are some higher-end features here, including adjustable weights, 2 3-gram weights and 1 5-gram weight to make the mouse lighter or heavier. MSI Center. Software and warranty on the MSI Aegis RS11. This is the first MSI PC that's crossed my desk with MSI Center, the company's replacement for its 2 previous Swiss Army knife applications, Dragon Center, for gaming, and Creator Center, for, well, creating. MSI Center, though, seems bare bones. Sure, it has an optional light dark mode switcher, which is nice, and you can still see CPU and GPU temperatures and usage. and there are still different usage scenarios to choose from, though they're buried behind menus. But some features from Dragon Center are nowhere to be found, including one-click optimization for games. Mystic Light and the LAN Manager are optional modules to add on. This feels like it's in beta. There's an area to down layout, update or uninstall. MSI typo, not mine. MSI Aegis RS11th configurations. We reviewed the Aegis RS with the new Intel Core i7-11700K Rocket Lake processor, 16 GB of RAM, and MSI RTX 3080 Ventus 3XO CGPU, a 1 TB PCIe Gen 4 SSD and a 2 TB 7200 RPM HDD. When the system becomes widely available in mid-April, it will run for $2,499. When we were reviewing this model, MSI told us that the RS11 series would start at $1,999. It didn't have completely finalized specs, but suggested the base model would have an RTX 3070 and 650W GPU and ditch the HDD. Overview: if you're looking for the latest and greatest, the MSI Aegis RS11th delivers you the most recent parts from Intel and Nvidia, at least, as long as it's in stock. Unlike some other prebuilds, there's nothing proprietary here. It's all standardized parts, mostly from MSI, that you can easily upgrade down the line. Intel's Core i7 Rocket Lake and the Nvidia GeForce RTX 3080 in our review configuration work potently together. In productivity, though, Rocket Lake's limited core count didn't stand up to some competition, which affects some workloads. MSI needs to add polish to its MSI Center utility. If you use the app to monitor CPU usage, check temperatures or change RGB colors, it will feel a bit like beta. If you prefer other applications, you may not notice. We are going to end this video right away. If you have any query or information to share, please leave a comment below. Thanks for watching.